Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satgurum Pranatosyaham. Let's finish this topic on Upadhi. And we said that Upa is that which is near, and Di, transfer. Therefore, that which is near ends up transferring as though to that which takes on the attributes. And this analysis continues in verse 78. It says, proper and improper way of resolving Jiva and Ishvara. And this verse will again show us the logic of how this Tattvamasi is properly interpreted. Tataha tu tau lakshanaya sulakshayau tayoho akanda eka rasatva siddhaye na alam jahatya na tata ajahatya kintu ubhaya artha atmikaya eva bhavyam. Again, to understand that Jiva and Ishvara are one consciousness, we need to use a form of implication. Now this implication word, it means, in brackets, it's a method of deriving the non-literal meaning. That means the implied meaning. It's a method of deriving the implied meaning from a word. And then it says, we can't just throw away all their apparent characteristics. So you can't just entirely throw away the Jiva, throw away Ishvara. You can't just throw away the whole thing. Nor can we keep all of them as they are. That means you cannot just keep the Jiva with all its 5 koshas and keep Ishvara with all its attributes. Instead, we must selectively discard the superficial, that means those temporary attributes or limiting aspects, and retain their shared nature. Okay, now this makes a little bit more sense. All right, so we said the equation doesn't make sense. In fact, it's a blasphemous statement to say that you are God. This is why if you say this to a particular religion, they will say that's blasphemy. I've experienced this myself. And if you come that across, or like that across, if you come that, sharply across and you say, I am God, no one's going to take you seriously. In fact, a Vedantin will never say this. You don't say, I am God, because it doesn't say here that you are God. There's a certain understanding behind that statement. So you don't say, I am God. In fact, even if I know that you are understanding this knowledge, and you say to me, I am God, I would feel uncomfortable. I wouldn't relate to you anymore. Even if I know what you really mean. It's just not something that you say. So we know so far that the word tvam for the Jiva means you. That word tvam, you, signifies finite knowledge, alpajnaha, finite power, alpashakti, kartratvam, the doer. Because when I say the doer, it just means the instrument. Who is the doer? The instrument's the doer. Who else is a doer? It's like a robot just moving according to its programming. Bhoktartvam, the enjoyer. Again, who's the enjoyer? The instrument is. It's programmed to enjoy when, remember that Anandamaya Kosha? When you gain punyam, what happens automatically, effortlessly? The ahamkara takes on the anandamaya vritti. It takes the mode of happiness, and it's effortless. So we have, through our process of neti-neti, negated them. So Tvam signifies all of these finite attributes. And then Tat, or Ishvara, we said means the cause of the universe. And it is that which is omniscient. So it's Sarvajanaha, all knowledge, and it's Sarvashakti, all power, omnipotent. So this is also religious language. They say omniscient, all-knowing and all-powerful. Now, very interesting argument is what atheists will sometimes say if they debate Christianity or any kind of system that talks of the Lord as all-knowing. What they will say is, oh, so, if Lord is all-knowing, then we don't have free will here. Because he knows everything that's going to happen. So this is how they interpret all-knowing. A Lord that knows everything in the future and everything in the past. This is not what all-knowing means. All-knowing means I don't lack any knowledge about anything, how things are going to work, how things are working right now. It doesn't mean I know what's going to happen tomorrow. So it's a slight contextual word change. So again, if you were to incarnate the Lord, suppose Lord comes here and I say, Lord, so right now you are all knowing. And he says, yes, I am. And I says, Lord, what's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. I really don't know, because tomorrow is my Maya. It is potential. And that potential, what it will unfold, I don't know. I'm only that which manifests that potential right now. But I can't tell you anything about the potential, because potential means, though it exists, there's just nothing to say about it. Another word for potential is unmanifest. It's not manifest. So this is not what all-knowing means. Instead, it means the blueprint of everything. So this is Tvam and Tat. And then again, how can you equate this limited entity with a limitless being? How can you say that you are that limitless being? Now, the way that the Rishis came to this resolution is we already explained. We told you the final answer, which is their shared nature. But suppose that we were to take it step by step. And they say there's three types of implications. There's three types of, you could say, methods to arrive to that. And the first is Jahad Lakshana. Jahad Lakshana means rejection or substitution. I'll just say Jahad al Lakshana. And I'll put rejection. Rejection and substitution. So suppose I say to you, the room is noisy. Okay? So how do you figure out the statement, what I really meant here? The room is noisy. What do you have to do with that one of those words in order for that sentence, the room is noisy, to make sense?
You have to discard the room.
You have to discard the room. You have to reject.
And replace it with something else, which is the people inside.
Yes. So in other words, the room is noisy. I'm taking one of those words there and I am rejecting it. Or I am substituting it with another word. So instead of the room is noisy, the people are noisy. The people in the room are noisy. So that's Jahad Lakshana. Now, suppose we apply this to Tat Tvamasi. Because we're saying that you are that. You are that limitless being. Okay? So let's take the word Tvam, you. Let's replace the word Tvam. Because, see, you are that. You are limitless. You are that limitless being. So let's take the word Tvam and substitute it with something else. Is that going to be now a limitless being? Suppose you substitute it with a Deva, with more powers. You substitute it with someone that's bigger, like a big being, a much bigger being. Is that still a limitless? Are you limitless? No, because the statement is saying you are limitless. So if I substitute the word tvam, it's still a limited being, no matter what you substitute it with. Indra, the Brahma, it's still limited to a couple of trillions of years. You're still not a limited being. You still are within time and space. Then the word tat, let's substitute with the word tat. What are you going to substitute the totality with? How can you substitute totality? You can't do it. With what? If you substitute it with anything other than what it is, then it's no longer totality. But the statement says you are that limitless, you are that totality. So here, Jahad Lakshana completely fails. You can't substitute you nor totality. Then let's try Ajahad Lakshana. So Ajahad Lakshana, you just put the word A here. And instead of rejection and substitution, it means retention or addition. So we are retaining something or we are adding something, same thing. You can use it in different contexts. So let's take the sentence, the red is running. The red is running. Suppose you and I are at a horse racing match and I point to you, hey, look, the red is running. What do you have to do here? You have to add. For that sentence to make sense, the red horse is running. So let's apply that to Tattvamasi. Suppose you add something to Tvam. So what? No matter how much you add, limited plus limited plus limited plus limited equals still limited. But it's saying that you are limitless. So it doesn't work for Tvam. What are you possibly going to add to totality? Because it's already the total. Therefore, this method, Ajahad Lakshana, completely fails. Then let's try the third method. Jahad Ajahad Lakshana. This is called Bhagatyaga Lakshana also, popularly. So we're going to say Jahad Ajahad Lakshana. And this is the method of rejection and retention. This is where the word retention is now useful. Not addition, but retention. So we're going to reject something and we're going to retain something. So another method is called Bhagatyaga Lakshana in Vedanta. This is a popular term. So we're going to discard certain contradictory values and retain their shared nature. And with the word Tvam, what have we done? We've used and started a system with who am I? The entire system inquiry was started with who am I? And then we said, well, I cannot be my kosha, because by definition, anything that changes is perceived and is dependent cannot be real, because definition of the truth of that which is real is it's true in the past, present, and future. So it cannot be any one of those 5 koshas. This is very clear. So by neti, by negating, and then finally recognizing through Anvaya Vyatireka method, remember those 3 states, Anvaya Vyatireka, Anvaya what's available, Vyatireka what is variable. We've seen that you cannot eliminate, you cannot negate awareness. This was clear. So we have come to that which illumines all those 3 states. So what was the first step? Neti, and then we addressed the self. We said, what is the self? Because you cannot just do neti. This is a common error. Just negate. Okay, then what is left? That's what the student had a problem with. Nothing's left. So then the teacher had to say, well, what is left is you. Yeah, but who is this you? What is the nature of this you? Which is then why we proceeded. Remember the next section was what is the nature of that you, consciousness. And then we said it is of the nature of existence and awareness. So this is the uniqueness of Vedanta. It actually tells you what you are. Because usually we say you cannot be told, it's beyond words, it's beyond the mind, it's beyond descriptions. So on one hand, it is beyond the words and mind, isn't it? But remember what we did? We've negated the limiting definitions of Satyam and Jnanam. We said Satyam does not mean an object in time, and Jnanam does not mean knowledge of an object, like about the self. I've read about the self. It means that which is true in the past, present, and future, and what's always there, that which is awareful. So your existence, which is of the nature of awareness, which has no second, it's anantam, it's limitless. So we have performed this inquiry. So we explicitly said who you are. So now there's no question. You cannot now say I'm a divine being. We did not say you're a divine being. We said you are Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. In fact, the only possible way to describe your true nature is with Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, or sometimes we'll use Sat and Chit and Ananda. Ananda also means here limitless, fullness. Sat, existence, Chit, consciousness, Ananda, fullness. Satyam, existence, Jnanam, consciousness, Anantam, limitless. Same words, different context, but exactly the same. Okay? So, having been told who you are, then we said, what is the definition of that, tat? And we said it's Ishvara. But now we understand that Ishvara cannot function because Ishvara's definition is all knowledge, all power. Okay? So we said that all knowledge and all power cannot be outside a conscious being. Like your limited knowledge and your limited power cannot operate outside awareness. There has to be a conscious being there. So therefore, Ishvara depends upon consciousness. But we also said about Ishvara, pravaha nityatvam. Remember that? It's a constant state of manifest, unmanifest, manifest, unmanifest. Not only at the macrocosm, that means before the Big Bang, the entire potential of all knowledge and all power, the totality of that is in potential. It's not even activated. That's called pravaha nityatvam, in an eternal flow of manifest and unmanifest. And then the universe arises out of that knowledge and power. And even when the universe arises, still that universe is none other than knowledge and power. And is that knowledge and power now in a static mode while the universe is manifesting? No, because every second is gone. Therefore, knowledge and power right now is unmanifest, replaced by the new knowledge and power. Not that it's a new, it's exactly the same knowledge and power, it's just reshuffled itself into this next moment. Now, the reason why sometimes we use the names Shiva, Vishnu and Brahma, or Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, is because at the beginning levels of the search, this entire teaching is a little bit too much for the mind, too logical, too academic sometimes, too sometimes intellectual, and the mind doesn't connect with it. So what you do is you create a symbol for this creator, sustainer, and destroyer. You don't say knowledge power, you don't say that. You just say, hey, here's for you Brahma. Here's Brahma, and then, he's looking in 4 directions. That's the 4 Vedas. He's all knowledge. From all knowledge, 4 Vedas, I create this entire universe. You can also say he's looking in all directions. There's no place where he is not. And so then you pray to Brahma. You say, oh, creator, give me a new child, a healthy child. Bring me prosperity in life. Bring me love. Bring me harmony in life. And so you're praying to that intelligence. There's only intelligence here. And then you have Vishnu. You obviously want those things to remain in your life. So now you say, Vishnu, please maintain this wonderful life that I've earned, that I've worked hard for. Maintain my knowledge, maintain my memory, maintain my the love that we feel between each other with my partner. Let it not dwindle away. Maintain it, please. Now that it's been created, I want it. Maintain my health. Maintain my youthfulness. And so Vishnu becomes an object of worship for you. It's also intelligence manifesting right now. And now most want end of certain things in their life. I don't want disease. I don't want ignorance. I don't want a certain person in my life. I don't want a certain job or so on. And so I pray to Shiva. It's also intelligence. But it's a lot easier for a simple mind to relate like this than to come to class and go through, rigorous analysis and hair-splitting details sometimes. So these are beginner ways of relating, but then later on you say, okay, now having been introduced these concepts through culture, you come with some sort of familiarity to be able to listen to this. So this is why we have these gods, to relate, because the mind always relates to an object. That is just the nature of things, and especially a face.
Plain with an example, hopefully, about this adyahat, retention and add, like the horse, for instance.
Yeah.
I don't understand the
Okay, sure. So what someone is asking is, so we use some sentences here, and the sentence, Tattvamasi, you are that, it doesn't make sense initially. Like, how can I be that? How can this small individual be that big being? Yeah. So this is the issue. Now, to solve this issue, we analyze the words you and that, and we say that if I am something that you, just stick with the word you. If I'm more than just this person, then I'm still not limitless, because the sentence says you are limitless. So if I add something onto myself, then it doesn't make me limitless. So that method doesn't work. If I replace this limited individual with another bigger, so I'm now replacing, I'm replacing the individual with something bigger, I'm still limited. So rejecting the individual or substituting the individual doesn't work, because I'm still a small being. Or adding something or rejecting something from me, it's still going to be limited. So the only way that you can do is you can reject certain qualities which are negatable. I'm rejecting the koshas, rejecting the characteristics, rejecting the memories, and so on. And I'm also rejecting from Ishvara knowledge and power, because knowledge and power still depends upon consciousness. And it's also pravaha nityatvam. It goes from unmanifest to manifest. Do you go from manifest to unmanifest? No, because if you were as good as Ishvara, if you were truly that knowledge and power, and that knowledge and power goes from manifest to unmanifest, then what? And since knowledge and power is always going from manifest to unmanifest, what would be constantly your experience? It would be like a flicker. Like you go out of existence, you go in existence, out of existence, in existence. So what does this show you? You are free of knowledge and power. We said that Maya cannot be exactly equated to Brahman, nor is it different from Brahman. Okay? A little bit, no, on your face. Think about it. I'll just say think about it for now. It's just a method of logic to arrive to the statement. Even if we didn't undergo this verse, we still already performed the inquiry that your nature and Ishvara's nature is one and the same. The shared nature is the same. That's all that really matters. Yeah.
And I'm just curious, because you are showing that is the logic they use in the beginning times of the Vedas, the rishis?
Yes, so like we said, the rishis have to use their minds, have to use logics to arrive to these certain equations, because the word is provided, you are that. And so he wants to show that how do I prove that you are that? I need to prove it using Jahad, Ajahad Lakshana method. Because just saying that you are that, okay, it's a good start. But in the Vedas, it's always backed by logic. So even if you don't get the logic, then go with the simple understanding. Your common shared nature is consciousness. Yeah. See, a verse like this is from Brahma Sutra. And Brahma Sutra is hair-splitting details. This is like a little tip of the iceberg. So I've put this inside here intentionally just to make you appreciate how these logics work. Because I don't want to make it intentionally so easy, just let's flow through it. I want to make you, whoa, this, huh, what, huh? Right? But otherwise, commonly you won't even learn this verse. Okay? So what do we do then, having removed the upadis from the jiva and Ishvara? We have rejected, we have jahad. Jahad is to reject. We have rejected upadi from the jiva. We have rejected Ishvara's upadi, that's jahad. And what have we? Ajahad. What have we retained? We have retained their common shared nature, consciousness. So that's the basis of the verse. Now, it goes a little bit more into an everyday example to demonstrate this. Verse 79, this is that Devadatta. This is that Devadatta. Saha Devadattaha ayam iti iha cha ekata viruddha dharma sham apasya katyate yata tata tatvam asi iti vakye viruddha dharman ubhayatra hitva. Verse 80, samlakshya chitmatra taya sada atmanoho akanda bhavaha parichiyate buddhaihi evam mahavakya shatena katyate brahma atmanoho aikyam akanda bhavaha. Just as in this sentence, this is that Devadatta, the oneness is stated, giving up the contradictory part. So too, in the sentence, you are that, you're giving up the contradictory parts in both the words and keeping in view the oneness in the form of consciousness alone. The undividedness of Brahman and Jiva is understood by those who are discerning, Vivekis. In this manner, the undivided oneness of Brahman and Jiva is revealed by hundreds of Mahavakyas. One of them is Tattvamasi. There are hundreds. Okay? So, suppose that you and I go to a party and there is someone there who, there's someone there, there are many people there. But you remember someone from a long time ago, and you thought they're going to show up at the party. And you're looking for them, and you can't see them. And this last time you saw them was about 50 years ago. So a lot of things have changed. And you go up to someone, and they say, this one is that Devadatta that you used to know. Remember that Devadatta 50 years ago? Yeah. This is that Devadatta. This is that Devadatta? Yes, this one. You were looking at that Devadatta all this time, but you couldn't recognize him or her because of upadhi difference. The upadhi has changed so much. Now you've gained extra pounds, gray hair. So much has changed, but it's the exact same Devadatta. Isn't it? So I was looking at this truth, at this reality all this time. Where is the Lord? Where is the Lord? Where is the Lord? Where is the Lord? And I couldn't see him because of the upadi difference. So in that same manner, why can I not see the self? Because of the upadi. That's where I put my focus on. Why am I confused about who am I and what is the difference between me and Ishvara? This carpet, is that Ishvara? How? Because it's as though modified, reorganized itself into the carpet. This hand, is that Ishvara? Yes, because it is modified, reorganized itself through a certain process to come into this hand. Now, has the Devadatta, the person, the essence of the person changed? The essence is exactly the same. Only the outer shell is different. And on the basis of that shell, I have come to not see him, even though I was looking and even talking to him all this time. So now the statement, Mahavakya, this Devadatta, is that Ishvara? How? Because the upadi is different. That's it.
So Ishvara is Brahman with Upadi.
Yes, with Maya upadi.
Maya Upadi.
100% correct. And Jiva is Brahman with Pancha Kosha Upadi. Verse 81. Let the universe remind us of Brahman. Mrit karyam sakalam gatta adi satatam mrit matram eva abhitaha tadvatsam janitam sat atmakam idam sat matram eva akilam yasmat na asti sataha param kimapi tat satyam sa atma swayam tasmat tatvamasi prashantam amalam brahma advayam yatparam. All that is produced of clay, like the pot, etc., is always nothing but the clay. Similarly, all that is born of Sat, having its being in Sat and nothing but Sat alone, because there is nothing other than Sat, and that Sat is the truth. That is itself the Atma, the Self. Therefore, you are that whole Brahman, which is free from modification and sustains, or stains and is limitless. What? Free from modifications and stains, and is limitless and non-dual. Okay. So here it's reminding us, again, that the whole entire universe that we experience and your body is a superimposition. And this superimposition, we use 3 words. Do you remember what they are? Superimposition, 3 words we used. Huh? Mithya, Upadi, Atyaropa, Upadi, and Adhyasa.
What was this called, sorry?
Adhyasa.
No, what is the 3?
Upadi,
Superimposition.
superimposition. So, the universe is a superimposition of forms and names, and those forms and names have their reality in none other than Sat existence. So we said that Mithya is nothing but Sat plus forms with names. Okay. Now, let's take an example of... yes?
I don't understand the word stains in the context of
Which one?
stains.
Oh, no, it doesn't contaminate it.
It doesn't.
Like if I put a marker stain on your shirt,
So it doesn't stain.
it doesn't stain. It's free from stains. Yeah.
Then it makes sense.
Yeah. What's common here? How do you solve this equation using Satya Mithya? What do you have to do? pot, desk, and ring. What's something that they all share in common? They all come and go. They all change. So, and they all depend. So put a marker like this. They all depend. Depend. Oops. So let's put it in a more optimized fashion. So this is style 1. Let's put style 2. What would be a proper way, even though grammatically this is correct, what would be a more true to its more factually true way? How could you put it? Let's reverse the words. We'll say potty clay. Here, wood, desky wood. And ringy gold. So the idea is basically potty clay, platey clay, cuppy clay, cherry wood, spoony wood, etc. You get the idea. Okay. But now let's go style number 3. What about, because what's after each one of them? What do they all depend? Because now the entire section here actually is nothing but here, isn't it? It's mithya. So now how do we complete that? Because according to the verse, it says everything is that sat alone. All that is born is of sat, having its being in sat, and nothing but sat alone. So now what would you have to do to solve that equation according to the verse? Now it becomes potty, clayey existence. Desky woody existence. Ringy goldy existence. Okay, like this. World existence. You get the idea.
Put the existence first.
Oh, because I try to be unique a little bit. Yeah. I like to be creative. I like to challenge you. Okay? So, potty clay existence, desky woody existence. Or you could say, existence taking the form of a pot clay. Existence taking the form of wooden desk, and so on. Desky wood. Existence in a form of golden ring. Or ringy gold. Okay? Now, if we using this chart, is there any exception outside that chart? Would there be a time when it's outside that blue example? No. So are you excluded from that? Is your body, mind excluded? Are your thoughts excluded from that? No, we'll put perhaps a thought here, just to ensure that we don't exclude our own thoughts. So let's think of an example here for our thoughts. So clay pot. So sad, happy thought, right? So the happy depends on the thought. So you have to put the happy here, right? Happy. Is that right? And then it depends on this happy thought or emotion. So now let's reverse that over here, and what do we have?
Thoughty happiness.
Huh?
Thoughty happiness.
Oh, I have to get this. So you reverse the order, right? So thoughty happiness. Is that what you said? Okay. Oh yeah, you put the first this here. Okay. Happy thought. Yeah. Happy thought. Happy thought. But now let's go the third style. Happy thoughty existence. Okay, or existence in the form of a thought which is in a form of modified in the form of happiness that we call happiness. Okay. So that's verse 81. And it continues and it says, what is the nature of that existence into which everything resolves and depends upon? That means your nature too. It is prashantam. It is ever tranquil and undisturbed by the changes of the body and mind. This is what it means by it's never tainted. So you're prashantam. You're never disturbed. See, your body and mind will be disturbed all its life. But your nature, you are the undisturbed, changeless awareness. And this can help you, once in a while, to remind yourself that though things are maybe disturbing, you're not disturbed by this. You are the awareness, the quiet background of consciousness behind the whole entire show. Not that it is behind, but it is who you are. And so it then says you're amalam, stainless. In other words, unaffected by good or bad qualities. This is in a way liberating because we often judge ourselves based on the qualities that we have about ourselves. I'm a good person, or I'm a wise person, or I'm an unwise person. Good, wise, unwise, they have no bearing on who you are. You're the illuminator of those qualities. Sometimes we have affirmations and we say, I love myself. I am a lovable person. I am a friendly, a cheerful person. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. This has its part, of course. This has a lot of benefit. But eventually, you are that which is unaffected by low self-esteem. Otherwise, why would you be saying I love myself? You're unaffected by high self-esteem. You're unaffected, or you have no connection to your career. So your career that you say, oh, I am this educated person of high caliber. You're not. You're free of that. Or I don't have education. I don't have the good qualities. And so I judge myself by that. You're not. You're free of that too. That's your mind saying that. It has no connection to you. Or I am not pretty enough. I need to add more prettiness to my existence. Or I need to be taller and shorter. You're not. That's an attribute of the body and mind given to you according to your prarabdha karma. Or I need to, I need to feel more presence of love in my life. You don't. Because that want is a desire belonging to the mind. You're stainless, untouched, free of the qualities. Or I want to feel more presence of God in my life. Again, you don't. Because the one who wants that is a person, not you. Now, on one hand, we say this, and this is who you are. But on the other hand, you don't deny yourself. You don't now say, oh, I want to feel more presence in my life. And you say, but since the body and mind wants that, I don't need to do anything about it. So on one hand, though you still pursue those genuine desires that you may have, at the same time, once in a while, I remind myself, I have no connection to this. I'm advayam. You're non-dual, without a division. There is no better or different or more enlightened self out there. So I will never merge with the enlightened self. You understand the implications of this? There will never be a time when you go home and in the future or tomorrow you merge with a liberated Buddha-like self. That's not going to happen because that means there are two selves now. And if that were to be the case, that would mean you would have to lose yourself in order to gain someone new. that would be as good as going out of existence, because the most precious thing that you cherish is your existence, yourself. So there's no question of replacing yourself with some other self. This is why this journey is about recognizing that yourself is all that is. And that itself becomes a contentment. Now, the reason why the person is not able to feel content, even though they already are the whole, that's a fact. You are the whole. Oh, okay. Yeah, oh, okay. Cool. Go on. Why does that happen? Like, it's true, you are the whole. But it just like, it doesn't incite that inspiration.
Mind is resisting that knowledge. It is not willing to accept.
It's not willing to accept. It's got resistance accepting. And that's where the joy of the wise person comes from. The simple fact that I am free of this whole show. Nothing can top that. You can give me any kind of relationship, I don't need it. Because if you are the whole, what is there to gain? What is there to lose? And yet the person still wants to gain things. I'm not saying don't now gain, and don't say now, oh, the wise person doesn't want to gain anything because they are the whole, therefore I sell everything. What are you doing there? You are taking that which is free and attributing it to your body and mind, and so you made an attribution error. I kept saying yesterday, Advaita does not engage in this pseudo-nonsense where you literally change your lifestyle to try to be Atman. There are two orders of reality. The person continues having a relationship because that is your thing. You continue indulging in food and going out because that's your thing. That's the healthy lifestyle. Because there is an empirical person with a human heart who has desires to go out and do things. Therefore, you don't lose anything. How cool is that?
So why is this so strong identification with the doshas, with the koshas? Why it's so difficult for people, for us to come over it, even though we know all this, we have all this knowledge, but still we are.
Good question. Because there's still a disconnect between when you first learn something, there's a time lag. When it has to settle and percolate your personality. That means it's still at the level of the head. It has to shake hands with the heart. I call it head and heart integration. And that head and heart, you cannot speed it up. The only proper way is by bringing Ishvara into your life. Everything else, you're now going back to what you're always doing, which is relating to objects. You need to start seeing the presence of Ishvara in all things. That's the only possible way.
To start to see the Ishvara in all, it also comes. It's not there from the just like this.
Yeah, it's very slow. It's very slow. It feels like you're not getting any progress, and you're not from that culture, and you're not really into devotion, and there's no real that sweetness there. It's a very slow process. I've watched it in my own life when Vedanta came into me, and the knowledge is crystal clear. Devotion was not there at all. It's like, yeah, I get it. It's one. Of course, there's a relief, right? That you recognize that you're not some away being who's different from what the scriptures talk about. Of course. But devotion comes much later, and it takes hard work. That's why we have mananam, and especially nididhyasanam. And nididhyasanam basically just means not only closed eye meditation, it also means open eye contemplation. That means through and through, ordinary moments, while eating, while driving a car, whatever, you just bring in that knowledge and you keep on ruminating over and over. It doesn't matter whether you're educated, uneducated, liberated or not, keep on ruminating for years and years and years. And little by little, the knowledge starts to percolate those hidden regions in the mind that are still resisting it, pushing it away. The unconscious little dark spots have to be filled with the light of that knowledge. Even though there's no rebirth for you as a wise person, still the mind has gaps of darkness. And it says, yeah, but I'm too rigid in my approach. And so you have to shine that light into that region. And that's only possible through nididhyasanam.
So especially for the dark spots, it's very difficult because the dark spot means that I identify even more with one of the koshas. So because, like, I used to say I'm a smoker, I'm not a smoker, but to really realize that there was literally too much smoke to have the guts to see it. But once you see it, it disappears. Then now I know I'm not a smoker.
Good. That's one step better than before. Now, even though you may know that, it doesn't necessarily mean that one emotionally disengages from that. So the emotional delay has a time factor to it. And
now I don't have to feel guilty about it or shame.
Progress, excellent. Yeah, progress. You see, so it's much better than before. So therefore, don't take yourself so hard and say this is slow progress and things are moving too slow. Guess what? Here's news. Here's the news what people don't want to hear. It's supposed to be slow. You know how hard and slow change is. So average, maybe 10 years, like real significant progress. 10 years. Once you hear the knowledge, and when you've contemplated on that knowledge on and on and on, you'll have about 10 years of doing that. And only 10 years after, you start to slowly see those fruits of knowledge. That satisfaction, that fulfillment, that sweetness, that Ishvara's presence in all things. That natural samatvam yoga uchyate, that samatvam of your mind, composure. No matter what, no matter who's close to you, there's always an underlying cheerfulness permeating your being. Not because you were lazy, but because you took the hard effort to work at it. This is how it is with anything. So that's the takeaway from this course. Hard work. Expect not to come out now and that's the end of your journey. Your official journey begins when we finish this. Now you are loaded in a good way with a duty. Having attended this, now the Lord says, I gave you the key. And if you really honor the truth, if you really care about yourself and the truth, then you will naturally go out there and apply it. Small parts here and there. Now, feel guilty not if the mind doesn't do it. But I can guarantee you it will apply it somewhere. I don't think anyone can walk out of this course without taking at least some snippet out of it. Even if it's one snippet, that's good enough.
How to reconcile this hard work and non-dualship?
How to reconcile?
Hard work,
Yeah.
is hard, and non-dualship.
Yeah, so of course the person is the doer. Awareness is a non-doer. Awareness is an understanding, that which never changes. That's a non-doer. It doesn't do anything. So if you replace that word, how to reconcile, the simple answer is replace the word doer with body-mind. And non-doer is awareness. And we just spoke about body, mind, and awareness throughout this entire course. Okay, in the presence of awareness, there is a doer. When I say doer, it just means speaker, walker, thinker, inquirer, the one who's concerned, the role, the one who takes on roles, different roles throughout the day. Now the roles changes, don't they? From mother to student to employee to shopkeeper and so on. The roles change, but there's an underlying presence. So what does this show you? It shows you that the doer, aka role maker, is modifying, but you don't modify. So you don't have to reconcile because they have no connection.
When I say reconcile, meaning on one hand, we emphasize non-dualship, right? So we don't take ourselves to be the doer. But on the other hand, you said we have to work hard.
Yeah, but see, it's not you who's working hard. You are awareness.
Yeah, right.
your awareness, the consciousness that is throughout the three states. See, when there's no doer in deep sleep, you're still there. Because you say, I'm gladly going to go to deep sleep. So what you're really saying is, I gladly want to get rid of the doer, so I can be free of the doer. So awareness has no connection to the person. The person is going to continue doing things day after day. So moksha is just understanding that I am free of this doer. That's moksha. Until then, I am as good as the doer. I am as good as the pot. So how to reconcile? What's the connection between the doer? Here the doer is the pot. What's the relationship between the doer and you, awareness? It is a satya mithya relationship. Wherever there is mithya, a form, what is doing? Tell me, what is doing? When you say doer, what is doing? Is the arm doing? Which thought is doing? Huh? Or is the whole conglomeration of thoughts and chemicals and muscles, contraction, expansion, and heart beating and emotions, all of that is what we call doer. Now break all those thousands of processes down and just take one single cell. What is a cell? It's atoms. What are atoms? Reduced into intelligence. And intelligence is just reshuffling itself to form a cell. Cells are reshuffling themselves to form a brain. And then again, you got another conglomeration of cells to form a heart. And you put all that together, which is nothing but intelligence, and then you call that one a doer. But that one who's a doer is nothing but intelligence, Ishvara, in a form of different parts that you then call a doer. And Ishvara has no reality apart from consciousness. So who is the doer here? Show me this doer. See, when we use these words, remember, mithya means forms within forms within forms. So what makes up a doer? And when you get to that understanding, it dissembles, disintegrates your notion of a doer. Because your doer is just parts. Parts, just parts. Parts put together, going the moving.
Can you say ultimately doer is intelligence?
Sorry?
Can you say ultimately doer is intelligence?
Yes. Intelligence in the form of a body-mind, which we call a doer. Why doer? Because when is your body-mind not doing? Right now, it's doing talking. This one's doing listening. Then we're going to be doing drinking, then doing walking back. It's just doing all over the place. But it's nothing but intelligence. So intelligence reshuffling itself into a bunch of doers, and those doers, one of the sections of doers, is sitting down, listening about what's the nature of these doers, and the answer is, it is that very intelligence, Ishvara. And that Ishvara has no reality apart from consciousness. And how is consciousness known to you right now, that final reality? A self-evident I, that which is Swayam Prakasha, self-effulgent, self-luminous, non-negatable, true and present in every single thought. It's going to be true upstairs, it's true right now, it's true when you go home, it's true going to be on the airplane, on the train, in the car. It's always true and ever present. You cannot get rid of it. That is your true nature. So even the doer resolves into consciousness. Therefore, re-asking the question, what's the relationship between the doer and the non-doer? It's a Satya Mithya relationship. Someone had a hand up?
Yes, I just want to say that when we say hard work, this is not actually, at least in my case, but I think it's in all cases. It's not hard work, it's love for Atmajnana. Because when you start to do this, or you love it and you're doing it, or you cannot do it at all.
Yes, that's a good perspective. So see, on my on my standpoint, I call it hard work, but what I really mean, it's not really hard work because you're enjoying it, you're benefiting from it. So it's not in that typical sense hard, grueling, unpleasant work. And if it is, make it pleasant.
It will make it by itself. It will happen.
Yeah, it happens because you're involved in it little by little, and it grows on you.
Yeah.
Just like this retreat. It's hard work, but it's enjoyable.
Yes. Yeah, it grows on you. It slowly grows on you, and you just find yourself in it, and your whole lifestyle represents that. Thoughtfulness and contemplation and doubt removal, and this will continue. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.